Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today my guest is Sainath who has directed a short film called Gotho. So do watch the whole video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. My first question is what inspired you to become a filmmaker? Why you choose filmmaking?
I think I don't remember the exact moment or there's no person as such, but I feel during my engineering days, I think it's before engineering also, I'd seen this film called Dead Poet Society, Robin Williams' Dead Poet Society. And I think the kind of film that uh, Dead Poet Society is, uh, it led me to think in a way where I could explore something different in life rather than a conventional route. And initially, also, see, I come from a like my maternal side of my family. They are basically folk artists. So we do something called kalo. So this is a folk, like it's a traditional community theater which is performed in a temple, which my uncles and even my mother and even I have performed in that community theater. So I come from that lineage, though I'm an engineer by qualification. But I thought like film is something that after watching Dead Poet Society, that film is something where I can express myself in a better way.
So what did you study like during your graduation? Was it BTech?
Yeah, it's called BE in Goa University. So I did my Bachelor's of Engineering from Goa University. There's a government college called Goa Engineering College, and I'm from the Electronics and Telecommunication Department. So I'm a bachelor in engineering, and after that, I'm a dropout of TIS Mumbai. So there's a college called Tata Institute of Social Sciences where there's a course of Media and Cultural Studies. So I was there for one semester and after that I dropped out. So after dropping out, I had to drop out because of FTI only. So I got an FTI during that course and then I dropped out from TIS and joined FTI. Yeah.
Actually, one of the faculty member, like I have interviewed her. Shilpi Gulati, do you know Shilpi
Yeah,
Gulati?
yeah. She's my teacher. She's my
Okay,
teacher.
I just uploaded her video. I interviewed her.
Ah, yes. Yeah, yeah. She's my teacher.
So what was your experience in FTI like?
Yeah, so FTI, see, I'm the COVID batch. I'm a 2020 batch. So I'm from the direction department from the television wing. So there are two wings, there's a film wing and there's a television wing. So in the film wing, there are 3 year courses, and in the television wing, there are 1 year courses. So I'm from the direction department of the television wing. So yeah, uh, so you have basically it's a production course. Production in a sense, you make a lot of films during that 1 year. So you have to make 4 films technically in a year. So there's a 5 minute fiction that you have to make first. After that, you go to the 12-minute documentary. Post that, you have to make a multi-camera in-studio film. And last is your final film, which is like your course end film. So yeah, FTI was great in a sense. I always dreamt when I was in engineering that I'll join FTI because I always wanted to take that basic training in film, and no other place like FTI in the world actually. So when I joined FTI, I did not have that kind of exposure to films. In this, we were given certain exercises on like Iranian cinema, French New Wave. So I was familiarized, but in FTI, the atmosphere, this like the community, uh, it's very interesting because eventually everyone is talking about different kinds of film. Everyone is opposing different kinds of film, and everyone has a strong point of view. So so eventually, when you are inhabiting such a place which is talking about film, even the faculty members are introducing to you to different filmmakers. And there's a very peculiar thing in FTI. Uh, at the end of the day, at the end of your academic day, at 6:30, there's something called general screening. And at 6:30, they show you one film, which is curated by a proper screening committee and all that. So that is your vocabulary. Like that is the place, or that is the curated part of the course where you increase your vocabulary as a filmmaker because you get to see a lot of film. So except the Sundays, it screens every day. So yeah, so that's the fun of being in a film institute like FTI.
So like before you, like after you did your engineering, so did
Yeah.
you like have you done any job as well?
Yeah, yeah. Because see, I completed my engineering, and after that, I was very clear that I didn't want to go for a software job or a hardware job or whatever job that engineering gives me. But I started working in an art gallery. So there's an art gallery in Goa called Museum of Goa. So there's an artist called Dr. Subodh Kerkar who runs it. So he's a medical practitioner who has left medical. He had a hospital and he quit his hospital and and started painting on the streets. So I worked under him, and when I started working with him, there was no chance that I was going to get any like I there was no possibility that I could work in an art gallery because I don't come from a contemporary art background. I was hardcore engineering. So what I had to do was actually I lied to get the first job because I met him. He liked because I had like made some film for this college festivals and all that. So I showed my work to him, and he said because he was not interested in that. So he said he asked me once, "Do you know Premiere Pro?" I didn't know anything because I never edited those films because I used to feel that it's like again a software which I have to understand. So then I thought, chalo, if he's upfront asking me, then I should just admit and figure out. So after that, I just said, yes, I know Premium. So it's like, okay, you can join after 7 days. So for those 7 days, I was figuring out YouTube tutorial, everything. And then he gave me a system where there was a Premiere Pro software already installed. And I started editing for the museum. And after that, like I joined as a, what do you call it, a quack editor who didn't know anything about editing. But eventually, when I left the museum, I assisted Apurva Asarani, who edited Satya and who was a Filmfare as well as National Award winner, as an assistant editor for a film. So that was a very interesting leap there because actually I just told him like that I know Premiere Pro, but I didn't know anything. So even the first cut I remember, the first video that I made, which I'd cut, I remember. So yeah, so that I but again. I was recording there as well. I used to record his interview. So we did a 46 lecture series on different, like 46 different artists in India. So the exposure to contemporary art that I got at Museum of Goa, I think no other bachelor's course in arts could have given me, which was very specific. So now I am generally like I was not aware about contemporary art, but now I like take interest, and there was a certain kind of exposure that happened to continue, to which I am really grateful to Subodh sir. So he was my navigator in the as such, and he was my first guru to start the like entry into arts.
Like how many months did you work there?
I worked there for a year. I worked there for a year, and then for a certain period, we did this lecture series for Goa University on the contemporary artists.
And how can you apply for tests? Like what is the exam pattern there?
Uh, I don't remember the names of the exams as such, but there's something called TISNET. It might have changed. You have to figure out. But during my time, so there was a entrance exam initially. Then there was something. There was another intermediary exam that you have to give, and after that there's orientation and interview kind of thing. So after that, they select 30 people in that batch. So it's a pure documentary course where I had great teachers. Like there was Anjali Montero, there was Jaisankar sir, there was Shilpa Phadke, Faizullah, Nagesh sir. So these were like grades from Jamia Islamia. They had done their PhDs in communication. Shilpa ma'am was a PhD holder again and a writer. She had written a great book called Why Loiter. And again, Harmanpreet, who used to take film appreciation for, she's again from JNU Arts and Aesthetics course. She's also a PhD. And then Shilpi ma'am joined us at the later part of that semester. So it was a great experience, to be very frank.
Okay. In your
Yeah.
opinion, like the entrance exam was easy?
I don't know. I think I was
What they are
unprepared.
like, what they ask in entrance exam?
If I remember correctly, there was some like GK only, mostly, but I actually don't remember. But I got in, I was the least prepared in the room for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it was very casual. I answered it in Pune. The least prepared, but yeah, I don't know. Somehow I got it.
And did you prepare for FTI?
Prepared in a sense, initially I had applied for screenwriting, uh, where I did not get in. But at that time, I had no reference point as such, and I could not. But now I get these messages on LinkedIn how to prepare and all that. But I had tried, but I didn't want to read those books and all that. To be very frank, I loved films. I used to watch films. But one thing that I understood after failing in one FTI exam was the key is those 3 hours that you get. So in those 3 hours, however creative you may be, you have to write those stories. You have to solve those questions. It's like any other entrance exam. It's a subjective entrance exam that you give. So whoever like asks me कि क्या करना है, the primary job is to solve the question papers which are already there on their website. People read a lot of stuff, people watch a lot of stuff, but जो जो आने वाला है पेपर में they don't read that. They're not exposed to that primarily. So it's better you start with the question paper, then based on those questions you can explore interesting filmmakers from India and outside, and then kind of approach them. But I genuinely believe it's your personal experience, what kind of uniqueness to that story or that answer that you can get from your lived experience, only that makes the difference, because that's your own, right? No one can copy it.
Actually,
Yeah.
last year I gave the exam and my marks were so terrible. Like I cannot even tell you.
Yeah, but again, even I was the least prepared. So it's not something that I don't know, there are coaching classes and all that, but that thought never crossed my mind also.
So let's talk about your short film, Gotho.
Yeah.
I'm pronouncing correct, Gotho.
Yeah, Gotho.
Gotho. So
Gotho.
how the idea came for the story?
See, Gotho is basically my FTI film. So it's my FTI documentary. So this was made as the second exercise in FTI. So when I was in FTI, this was the first time I was going away from home. This was the first time I was going away from Goa. So I have a very small family, which is my mother, my grandmother, and there was a uncle and his wife. So my grandmother and I have a very interesting bond. So my grandmother, I gave like the first thing that I gifted my grandmother from my earning was a phone. So so it's like a SIM card and a phone. So and I had saved the contacts in Marathi, all the numbers. So after getting that phone, she used to regular. Now I'll get a call. Now it's 8 o'clock. Now at 9 she'll call me. So even now that practice continues. So when I was in FTI, she used to call me naturally. So I started recording those calls. I don't know why, because there was a general fear that I might lose her. And I thought I should document her voice just for my personal, yeah. It was, I don't know, it was some feeling that was there inside. She's still there, touch wood. So I used to record that, and when I had to pitch a documentary, I thought, and I had 3 hours of footage of the call. So the total it was 3 hours because it was over a year. So I just thought, let's make a documentary on my grandmother, and let's try to make it as a letter to my grandmother. So if I write a letter from Pune to my grandmother, how will I write it? And it has to be a visual letter. So it's like a journey that I'm doing around Pune in FTI. and I'm sharing those bits as the memory with her in this visual format. So it's actually made for her as a letter. So which has our personal moments where she talks about my father, she talks about her husband, she talks about her dreams, she talks about her like sons who have passed away, and she talks about her daughters. So yeah, that became again a revelation where I started understanding my grandmother as a human and not as a grandmother. So that objectivity came as a filmmaker where this character is there who is alone at this age without a companion and she's missing people like maybe all grandmothers and all grandfathers.
Have you
So
completed?
yeah,
Have you completed your course?
I'm a pass out. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So how much time it took to complete the film, like everything?
The film was conceptualized in September 2022, and then we shot it in Jan 2023 and completed in Feb 2023. So it's been a year now almost. So because there was a protest in the uh, campus, so which is again a very common thing. So that protest took around 2 months. So again, I could go shoot with her due to during that time. I could go to Goa and shoot my grandmother. So yeah, it took around 6 months. You can say no, not 6 months, around 3, 4 months. Yeah.
And any crew, like how many members were there in the crew?
Yeah, so the film is shot by Vishesh Gandhi. He's the cinematographer. Editor is Chinmay Wagh, and the sound design and mixing is done by Madhav Patil. So these are my batchmates from FTI. So these are the batchmates from other departments. So it was shot because it's like a academic project. So they gave us 2 days to shoot it, 5 days to edit it, and again 3 days for sound design. So it was made in that. The post time is that.
The most difficult challenge while making the film, what was it?
It was uh, it was uh, it was finding the locations because I was new to Pune. I had no idea what Pune was, so I had to go around the city on my cinematographer's Pulsar, and it was a tough bike, tough summer, tough. Like, it's like it was winter, but it was very very sunny and hot around Pune. But as I started roaming around Pune. I don't know, there was some connection that started building around the city, and especially the peripheral part of Pune, which are the beautiful mountain ranges, the roads, tunnels. There are villages which are just at the foothill of the huge mountains. And I started meeting people, started meeting people. So that again, I think, see, whatever it is, in a documentary, you have to tell the truth, right? So all the experiences which are there in the film, they are truthful experiences which are between me and my grandmother and the landscape that is shown in the film, which that landscape was giving me. And it is just truthfully presented as much as possible.
Are you like still interested in documentaries or more interested in documentaries or like fiction?
No, I don't, it depends. It depends. But even as a documentary, like if I want to make documentaries as a filmmaker, the subjects that I want to explore will be personal only because I find them very fascinating. Because even now I'm working on the documentary subject, which is which speaks about the balance that is happening in my family, where there are elders who are passing away, and there are new young cousins who are getting married and getting new partners. So again, this is a personal thing which I'm encountering, and yeah, so I love these kind of personal subjects, and there are social initiatives also around which I've made documentaries. But if you ask about loving something, then I love these personal subjects very much. when I'm exploring documentary as a genre. But even in that, I find it very interesting to do fiction also. I love telling those stories as well.
So currently it is screening anywhere, any film festival or any film.
Yeah, means first the world premiere was at IDS FFK, which is the Kerala International Documentary and Short Fiction Film Festival. Uh, then we showed the film at Dharmasala International Film Festival. Now, like which we showed it at Chennai International Film Festival. And there's a film festival which is coming up in May, which I cannot name right now. So that will be the international premiere of the film. Yeah.
Is it like international, like not in India, somewhere else?
Yeah, it's outside India.
Wow, wow, great,
Yeah.
great, great.
So,
Are you like shooting anything, writing anything?
yeah, so currently now I work as a writer researcher in a production house called Virtual Bharat. So here we have to again, I'm in a documentary space only. So here we have to collect stories, research on different stories, and try to make around 10-minute films on these subjects. So I'm currently in that process, and I've already shot a film on Vada Pav in Mumbai. So now we're working on the other subjects as well.
Can you recommend few films? Not few, like you want to
Yeah.
recommend any films and any filmmakers. Like it's your list. You can recommend how many.
I can tell you my favorite filmmakers, which I love, and their film. So the first one would be Umesh Kulkarni. He's a Marathi filmmaker. So he all his films, like his first film Vadu, then his film Vihir, which is a great film. Then his film Devud, which is a Swarna Kamal winner, national award. And his short films. You have to explore his short films. His FTI diploma film Girini, then his again another FTI documentary called Three of Us, which was at Berlin, again a national award winner. So and Garud, which is another short film of his, and his later there's another film called Highway, which he has made. So Umesh Kulkarni's filmography is great, so you have to check him out. He's a great filmmaker and one of my favorites. Again, an FTI pass out. Then, personally, internationally, my favorite film is Abbas Kiarostami. So, all Abbas Kiarostami films. So you can, there's My Friend's House, then The Taste of Cherry, Wind Will Carry Us. So, even the latest Certified Copy. So, I just love Kiarostami. Everything, like even his short films, Chorus. Uh, there's a documentary also which I cannot name right now. Then, like Close Up, you have to watch Close Up. Close Up is very interesting. So these are the two filmmakers. And if you like another filmmaker which I really love and admire is Vidhu Vinod Chopra. So who made 12th Fail recently, but you have to see his early films. Like, you have to see Sazae Mauth. Then you have to see Parinda. Then again, the films that he produced, Munna Bhai, Lagero, Munna Bhai, visionary. So I love the way he directs, and he's one of the other filmmakers. And in recently, you have to check out Avinash Arun. Avinash Arun, who made Three of Us for Netflix, which is on Netflix. Then he's famous for the
Cinematographer
uh,
is Masan.
he's a cinematographer, Masan cinematographer. So he has a web series which is Patal Lok, like famous for that series. But you have to check his first film called Killa, which is actually the reason I got into filmmaking. So you have to check out Killa. Uh, it won the Crystal Bear at Berlin,
I
and
I
then
have I've seen the film actually.
yeah, so Killa is great. And then again, his recent film Three of Us also, which is like one of the best films of 2023 to come on. So this is my list.
Great, great list.
Yeah.
If you could like summarize what is the job of an director, so what will you say?
think a job of a director is to, it's like nurturing a baby, right? Because there's no specific, everyone maybe may call it that it's people management, but it's people management is mostly related to production. But I feel from when you conceptualize a film, like when you think of an idea which can become into a film, it's like like starting like having that thought he will have a like baby together or something, and then thinking about it, making it grow, and then nurturing it, parenting it, giving it the right values that you have, like giving it the upbringing that comes from your own lived experiences. So it's like actually nurturing something, but also the basic job is communication. Because eventually, whatever happens, like I may give it a metaphor of nurturing a baby or whatever that is there under the sky, but the basic job is to communicate. If it's a scene, if it's a shot, if it's costumes, if it's choice of a casting, dialogue delivery, if it's lighting, if it's framing, if it's movement of a camera, if it's location, it's all about communication. Like, what do you want to communicate here? The emotion, information that you want to give out in this story, in this particular space and time. So, yeah, we can speak about it in detail that how does one compress that battle between time, space, and you make a film. Like you create time on a 70 screen in those 2 hours. That's a fascinating process, right? You can tell a story of 100 years in 2 hours on a huge screen and on a small screen as well, just by cutting, just by editing, and people get it. And it's a language, right? It's a language that has been fed to people, which people have been consuming for 100 years. So it's like you're writing in that language, which people get. People understand cuts. When there's a time transition, when you cut it from one time to the other, one space to the other, people get it. So it's such a fascinating field to be in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What you like the most, like writing part, shooting, or editing?
No, I love the writing part. I love the writing because that is when you are free, right? That is when you, because again, it's a visual medium. So creating those images, because here you're just imagining those images, but creating those images when you see them in that camera, it's a different pleasure again. But I think as a filmmaker, if you're a writer director, for me personally, actually, writing is a space where you're free. You can go anywhere. You can like be on a planet and next second you're on another planet. So it's the most liberal, free space, such a personal space to be in, where you can create worlds, where you can create characters, and they are listening to you. You are listening to them. You can create their psychology. So that's such an interesting process. It's like I'd read it somewhere. It can be wrong also, but it's a mota moti meaning that Steve Jobs had said ki basically we're like scientists. So they're like experimenting something every time. So it's such a beautiful profession to be in. Yeah.
So my last question is, if somebody wants to become a filmmaker, what advice would you give them?
If someone wants to become a filmmaker, if they have a phone, if they have editing software inside that phone or outside that phone, they are 50% a filmmaker. And because initially accessibility was the issue to these tools of cinema, now they are democratized, they are with everyone. So that is not the excuse. But like again, I don't feel that uh, one should be like following a certain kind of uh, curriculum or certain kind of like this is that kind of commandments. If you have a phone and if you can edit whatever you can shoot, and if you have a story to tell, at least you have a chance to try. At least like you are a filmmaker, right? Call yourself a filmmaker when you have these tools, and tell yourself that you're making cinema. And again, never stop that process of learning, because um, even when you are making that film on that phone, back of the mind, you should understand ki, acha, this is the limitation of this, or this is the advantage of this, and uh, how do I tell that story in a better way? Yeah, so uh, again, it's about that. Film schools were prestigious at one point because they had that accessibility to these tools, but they are with everyone now. Just that means a bad carpenter always blames his tools. That should not happen. The tools are already there. Half, if you want to become a filmmaker, 50% you're already home. Yeah, it's just a matter of those 50%. So get on and try them. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Sir,
Yes.
sir, such a pleasure to be able to talk to you.